Hello, everybody. We are now live, and
Can
we're
you
waiting.
see me?
Yes, I can see that you're here, but I can't see you personally.
Hold on. It's not working. I knew it. Okay. All right. Allow. Okay.
Okay, now I can. Now I can.
Okay. So we're trying. Okay. We are trying something different because I realized I didn't need to get a laptop.
Okay.
Am I sideways? You can hear me? Okay. I can't hear you, Aya. Can you hear me now?
Hold on. Yes, you're good.
Am I sideways though? That's my question. I don't know.
My problem is that somehow or other.
Yes? I can't hear you. I don't know what's happening. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to message her because I'm on that phone. I don't have Facebook on here, so I don't know what to do. Hello? She just froze up. Okay, that's strange. I don't know what I did, but try it again. All right. Aya, are you here? I can't because I'm zooming with that. I don't think she can hear me. So I can't do, I don't know, this might not work. Okay.
You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Did I do something that made it go away?
No, I think it was me. I was trying to mute the, I was trying to mute the live stream on YouTube so I could hear you, and I may have muted myself.
Oh,
so, okay. I think we're okay now.
Am I like sideways or vertical?
No, you're fine this time. You started out being sideways, but now you are, you've got the long view, but you're correct. Your head is up, and so it's all good.
So because I'm trying something different, I thought, oh, I had to get a laptop to do better live streams, but it looks like I can live stream with my phone. And I thought, oh, I have my old phone and I can share it on this one. So can I? I don't know. Maybe not. Let's see. But anyway, are we ready to go live in a few minutes or?
We are live.
Oh, we're already live.
I told you that in the message because it's 1 o'clock. I had to go live because I didn't want to be late for our,
Okay, that's fine.
I'd be watching it.
Just go ahead and share this to
yes.
Facebook. Okay, it's probably gonna take me a minute. If you want to were you adding something to Twitter or did you want to explain?
I might have to edit what is described up. Okay, I've been getting all sorts of messages, so I'm getting confused. But so it's called decorating. Described up. Here we go. Okay, I've been getting all sorts of messages. So it's called decorating iPhones cases with Julia Hanna, but I need to change the description because it says location.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, so I need to somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, this is kind of cool because I see a live tag when I go to your channel.
Oh, really? Good.
So that's actually pretty awesome, I think. So I'm gonna try and share this. Let me see. Share to Facebook. You can copy, I guess. iPhone. Allow. If it allows it. Let's see. I don't know if it's gonna allow that. I'm so used to the Android or the iPhone now. Can't.
So is it somehow not possible to use your computer today?
Oh, I'm not going to use the computer because I'm painting. It's too hard. I would have to turn it around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I didn't buy a laptop. That's what I was saying. That, well, actually, I could probably share it on the computer. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go this over here real fast. Be right back, everybody. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get something too.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be off here in a second. I'm just gonna share this, okay? Okay, let me see. Okay.
So I'm going to try to figure out how we can do this so that when I'm painting, you can see what I'm doing. Well, let's see which one of these is most dry. I think it's the red one. We can have the red one right here and try to paint something on it. And I was thinking that maybe today is our banana delivery. A lot going on at the same time. And we have a new subscriber on my secondary channel. And that subscriber is called Rayanne Arts. So hello, Rayanne Arts. In case you are watching this, I will go and look at your channel as well when I get a chance.
Okay, so I'm back. I just wanted to share that to Facebook because it was a little bit easier to do it on the computer, but I can't bring the computer in here with me. That's the problem.
Yeah, I understand. I am not sure how I'm going to paint these and have people actually see me doing it. So I thought I would use this stand. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. So I think I'm looked too a little far away. So maybe if I bring myself closer, but I'm afraid you're not going to be able to see the view of me. So excuse me, fumbling around. Okay, so you can see, I'm not sure if you can see me because
yes,
here I am.
I can see you back there, but not your face.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't, if I move it, it's gonna cut part of me off. So it's a catch-22. You either see my face or you see me painting. I don't know. So that's all.
Yeah, well, we can move back and forth between the things when I'm painting. Obviously, I'm not going to be painting it from behind. I'm not going to do that. That's obviously not going to happen. So I was going to look at a pattern that I wanted to use. Let me see if I can see that.
Okay.
Thought I took a picture of something that I wanted to look at. Okay. Thought I had, but my goodness, I didn't. So I'm going to go get the thing that I was looking at.
Okay, sounds good to me. I'm painting a palm tree, so I'm gonna do like several applications because this is not exactly how I want it to be because I gessoed it and then I got this idea like because I kind of operate on the fly like this. I thought, well, what if I added glitter paint that's like gold color on top of the gesso and just see what happens? And it's kind of cool, like it's kind of blending together. And as I paint things, it's kind of cool because it will blend, like when I made the trunk of the palm tree. But the drawback is the green fronds. I'm gonna have to go back over them later after they dry a little bit to redefine them.
Okay, I was thinking that I would look at this owl and try to paint it. Can you see the owl?
I do see the owl. That's really cool.
Okay, so I'm going to see if I can make a very rudimentary painting that resembles that owl.
Let's see. This is the thing I don't like about this is this paint is drying so quickly. It's almost like I can't use it. So.
Okay, so the owl has kind of these tufts that go up like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a body, and the body doesn't have a lot of distinction to it. It almost looks like a snowman, you know?
That's cool, actually. All of a sudden, I'm getting flashes of Bob Ross when you're talking. It's very soothing. I feel very relaxed. That's kind of cool, though.
Well, I mean, this is just decorating an iPhone case. If it works, great, and if it doesn't, well, I think I will live, right?
Yeah, but this is the cool thing about it is when I was watching the YouTube video of Elizabeth Mora, she said she did this because like it had been recommended to her, but what she did afterwards was she put like a gloss, like several coats of gloss over it, and that's how you can protect so even like I think it's gonna work, but I guess we'll have to see the final result.
Well, I do have an idea about gloss, about glazing it. I'll show you what I mean. This is what I use on my paintings when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a varnish spray.
Oh, you can do that too. You're right.
So after I'm done, even if it doesn't look all that great, if I'm going to keep that particular painting on the iPhone case, I'm just going to varnish over it.
Yeah, see, you can do that. You have a plan, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, the paint is not sticking as much as I thought it would to the surface. So I didn't realize that, you know, even though I've got all these coats of paint underneath there, it's not behaving the way paint would behave on a canvas.
That's why I got the gesso, because I read like, how is it gonna my friend Jennifer Del Pani said, you gesso something besides the canvas, and I'm like, I found out you can. So I went to Walmart and I got the gesso, and I'm just doing it on the fly, by the way. I probably could have done this better, but the gesso seems to be making the paint stick. I just think I should have done more prep work and more layers. That's all.
Well,
so this owl, like, that's kind of a cool idea. Do you like owls, Aya? Is that what inspired you to paint an owl?
yeah, I guess so. I went to Rice University, and their mascot was the owl. It's the owl represents knowledge, or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
I think there was an owl on Mr. Rogers too, wasn't there?
Yes, there was an owl. There's an owl puppet. I can't remember his name. But he lives in I just can't remember his name, Aya.
I know, but I think he was supposed to think that he was very smart, although he may not have been. Is that
like that could be a possibility. Now, this is my knowledge of Mr. Rogers. When I was a kid, I thought he was kind of boring, but I liked him more as an adult. Does that make any sense? Like when I was a kid, it's like, who is, like my sister, and I never hated him, but I just thought, oh, I feel like I'm going to fall asleep when I'm watching his show.
Yeah,
So
he was not very exciting. That's true. I never got to see him as a kid. I only saw him after I was a teenager. So,
I like him more now as an adult. Like I have more of an appreciation for Mr. Rogers, which by the way, we talked about that. You could link to that video, right?
mhm. Yeah, we could.
Yeah, if you want. I'm just gonna say if
Yeah.
anybody hasn't seen the movie, I feel like I learned a little bit more about him watching
Mhm.
that movie, but at the same time, I think the interviews with him were more meaningful.
Yes. The interviews were possibly more real.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And of course, it's a movie, so they're gonna fictionalize things. This is the problem, like lately, that I have with some movies, especially if they're trying to make it about a person that really lived. I don't know. I don't always. I have issues with. I guess like, is that really what they would have thought? I don't know. Anyway.
mhm. Let me go and sort of rinse out these brushes.
Yeah, I definitely would have done more layers. Like, no, let it dry more because it's sticking. There's no problem once you use the gesso. I almost kind of mixed the paint for the under layer. The gesso makes the paint stick,
Mhm.
but the problem is if you want to do a variation of color, you kind of have to layer it over time because it runs together right now. It's just so
Mhm.
wet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't feel that I have to have a really strong layer for my pattern as long as we can see what I'm drawing. That's all I care about.
Well, I think yours is going to look good. I'm just okay. This is the issue I'm having with mine is I'm trying to differentiate like the color of the palm tree fronds right
Mhm.
now, and I'm using a lighter green, darker green, trying to just, it doesn't have to be exact because I want it to be kind of from a distance, a little bit of impressionism, but it's just kind of all, because it's so wet with the gesso underneath, like it's kind of blending a bit more than I want. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between actually painting an image for the purpose of telling a story with that image, and there's a different purpose when you're just trying to decorate something. It's not the same.
I know they say that, but I still want to try. I mean, it might not be the best painting I'll ever do, but I
Uh-huh.
still want to try and make it look a little bit.
Yeah, I understand. But we always want to try our best on whatever it is we're doing, because otherwise, why bother doing it?
No, yeah, exactly. I'm just recommending to everybody that tries decorating iPhone case, don't do what I did. Like, gesso is really good, I think, as an underlayer. That's what I heard. But if you do it a day in advance. That's all I'm going to recommend to everybody.
I don't know that this looks like an owl. Maybe it looks like something other than an owl. But
It
anyway,
kind of looks like an owl to me.
somewhere between an owl and a snowman for sure.
Maybe it's an owl inspired. Maybe it's a snow creature that's an owl.
Well, that could be.
It could be like, if you want it, like, you just see where it goes, I guess.
Right. I think I want to give it some feet. Oh, okay, like this, like that. Sort of brownish feet. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me.
Okay. I don't know what
So,
some about it.
how did you decide to come up with a pattern today? Like, because I kind of was wondering if you were going to draw a portrait since you're doing so
Oh,
many
portrait? Yeah. Well, I don't, you know, in order to draw a really good portrait, I need resolution.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like,
So on a canvas this small, even if it were a canvas, a real canvas, I
Mhm.
couldn't get a lot going there in terms of making the face look like a real face.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Definitely.
So I'm not yet a miniaturist. I mean, there are people who are wonderful at painting miniatures, and they can paint landscapes and they can paint portraits, but they have really good hand-eye coordination, and they can control very tiny details. Now, in my case, getting down to an 8 by 10 was a very big deal in terms of portrait painting.
Hmm.
Because before I was painting these on these really large canvases, and the reason was I couldn't get the detail on a smaller canvas.
I totally get what you're saying, because on a smaller canvas it's more tricky. Like you have to really become very defined in what you're painting.
Right.
And painting's nice, but I think the reason I've always liked color pencil is because there's a little bit more control with it. Like I kind of like that you don't have to like reapply it as much.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm very disappointed about with colored pencil is those art forms, like they tend to fade over time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
You
I had some really nice colored pencil drawings, and this one was in my bedroom, and I couldn't figure out why it had faded so significantly because the sunlight was hitting it. And yeah, I could see that happening, but it was so drastic. It was just very disheartening.
Well, is there something you can coat it with?
See, I probably could have coated them. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I just never coated anything until now. Like, yeah, I am learning about that. Like, as I do art, it's more just like I've taken a couple art classes, but I didn't know all the techniques where you could preserve things.
I am now going to sign my work.
Okay, sounds good.
No, this is terrible because you can't really see what I signed, but it's okay. That's another thing, you know, I can't do calligraphy because my control is so poor. But there is my owl. I don't know if you saw it, but I gave him a little cap, like a Santa Claus cap,
Oh,
head with a little.
that's really cool. I have a funny story about I bought these really cheapo iPhone cases, and I think they're better than the ones I got at the mall. You know why? Because I paid $15 for an iPhone case at the mall, and I opened it up the other night, and it was disgusting. Like all this dirt had been to the inside of it, and then they charged you like $15 to put the glass cover on. But you know what I noticed when you go to the dollar store, Aya? You can buy the same thing, like a pack of 2 iPhone case covers for $1, and you can get cases for $1. So or $1.49. So I don't really see the point of paying like $15 for an iPhone case that's collecting dirt on the inside. But that's just me. I'm just like, okay.
Okay, now I want to make one for Bo with his name in it. I don't know if I can because, as I say, calligraphy is not really my thing. So I have to kind of see how that goes.
Sounds good to me. I think he'll be excited. And then are you going to make a video later of him playing with it or looking at it?
Yes. So Bo's name in Hebrew is Kishet, and it starts with a kuf and then a shin and then a taf. Of course,
Kishet is how you say it.
Kishet.
I think I've heard you say that before. Sometimes you're saying Kishet. You're saying Bo to him, right?
Yes.
I think I've heard.
When he signed his name, I don't know if you noticed, but he had 3 dots in the video where he was trying to write his name. So there are 3 dots under the kuf and 3 dots under the sheen. So this is the pointing for his name.
That's cool.
Of course, I'm looking at it and it looks sort of the opposite, but I guess it'll look okay later on.
So it's kind of like he's seen how to write his name and he's able to kind of replicate that.
Well, just the first letter and the first pointing is what he did.
Oh, wow. He did a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really give him enough credit because when I first looked at it, I thought, well, is that it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's pretty good, don't you think?
I think it's really good. I thought that was cool, and he can definitely hold the pencil, and he does all these different things that people thought he couldn't do. So I think you have videos showing that he can do these things, right? They just need to watch the video.
Well, yeah, it's just he doesn't want to concentrate very much. So now I think I will draw some flowers, like some roses in a vase or something like that, something pretty simple. I don't know if you can hear Summer is trying to say something, but I don't know what.
Is she saying vase?
I don't know.
Almost sounds like vase to me.
Now the problem is I cannot use green on green to make the lines of the, you know, the stems.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm being forced to make the stems somehow otherwise. Trying to use that blue, but it's getting the red in with it.
You probably could, but then you'd have to let it dry a bit and come back in later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably be working on this for a couple days. I think I'm gonna have to fix it, go back in and do a layer after it dries. It's gonna that's what I would recommend to anybody if you do use gesso, like a day in advance. But the gesso does let the paint stick to the iPhone though. I probably could wait an hour because it's acrylic paint. It's not oil paint. I think I'm just thinking of oil paint.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm using acrylics. And this one, I wrote my name on it with the roses. So
That's
this
cool.
Aya, and this is Katz.
That's very neat. I'm gonna let that one dry for a bit and maybe start doing some plum fronds on the other case.
I think I kind of messed up over here because this is what I do with paint. I'm very messy. And I'm afraid I got some paint on the part that's supposed to be red.
Oh no. But I mean, if you want, you can always go back. I know, like for you, you're saying it's just decorating, but if you want, like you can let it dry and you could always go back and add a little bit later.
Well, I just added some red to cover up the red. I mean, cover up the thing.
I get it. That works too. You know, I'm kind of sometimes with paint. That's why I'm doing this in the kitchen today. There's no way I could have done this at the computer. I probably would have got paint on the monitor or something.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have paint all over my iPhones.
Oh, I already am starting to get some on, and I used to my old one. They always say you can't clean the phone with vinegar or alcohol, but I just wipe it down because I'm like, what more am I gonna do to hurt it? Yeah. And it seems okay. I just clean it off. And I'm kind of getting to the point too, Aya, like this is cell phone related. I don't even feel like I need to put that protective glass cover on my phone anymore. Do you still use those on your screen?
Well, I never did. Maybe I should have, but because my screens are shattered. But
I mean, you could
I
if
never.
you. I mean, you can if you want, but I'm kind of like not wanting to because guess what? I was noticing another thing about like dirt was getting underneath that cover and it was getting really gross looking, and I didn't like that. Okay, I know this is not painting related, but I just was thinking like, why did I pay all that money for that case and to have them put that on when I could have done that myself for like $1?
Yeah. No, I never had that done. I didn't even know that was available. And I did buy iPhone cases after I broke my first iPhone.
The only reason I knew it was available in the mall was because my sister's like, we should do this. But then I thought about it later, I could have done it myself. But that's it. But I just thought I would share that because it's iPhone related. So how is the roses going? Are you having
Well,
enjoying that one?
I'm just done with them. You can look and see what I did. I'm kind of childlike in this. So you want to look for a minute?
Let me look. I guess it looks really pretty. I almost kind of want to go to the big computer and see because I feel like I can't see anything.
I'd like to see yours. Can you show me where you are with yours?
Okay, so mine is like going to be a giant work in progress. That's
Oh,
one.
wow. Wow, that is very
Oh,
detailed.
you think that looks okay? Because I feel like it looks like I'm going to have to go back, but we'll see. And that's the other one.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Really? Because I feel like, oh, like, I mean, it looks cool, but I feel like, I don't know, like I have to, but thank you. I want to see yours
Also,
though.
yours- Yeah, yours look very professional. Mine kind of look childish, but I mean, that's at this size, that's the best I can do.
No, it's just I can't see it because I'm on the iPhone. Like I can see it a little bit, but I wanted to go to the computer, but I guess I can go later and look at
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I'll wait to do it, but I'm sure yours is looking good. I can tell like it looks nice so far. So
Well, that's the thing. There's no so far. That's it.
well, okay, no, it's okay. You're decorating it, like you said. It's a decoration, right? It's not like
Right.
this is supposed to be fun.
Right.
Maybe. Do you think Bo could try it? Would you let
Well,
Bo?
here's my problem with Bo. He loves to put paint in his mouth. I don't think acrylic paint is really good for you. I know you don't die of one application, but it just bothers me when he does it, and I don't want him doing it constantly and chronically, you know?
Oh, that's true. You know what you could do is like frosting or something. You could like maybe like
Well,
make a frosting paint.
Frosting would actually encourage him to eat it. So what would be the point?
Oh,
see,
that's true.
uh,
But
I don't want him eating it. I don't want him confusing the act of creating art with eating. Those are very different things. And I'll
they're
tell
very
you, I never eat any of my paints, so he didn't learn that from me.
well, maybe he just likes to put things in his mouth. You know, some people
Yeah.
do. I've seen people put, okay, you're in a public place. Here's a pen. Oh, everybody uses this pen. I'm gonna stick it in my mouth and hand it back to you.
Wow.
Yum yum yum. And then, you know, it's just
Yeah,
another
that's not my thing. No, it's not my
no,
thing.
people do it. I see people do it all the time. Like it's a public place. Can I borrow a pen? They take the pen and they stick it in their mouth, and then they hand it back to you. And then they don't think, oh, maybe I don't want to touch something that was in your eye. This happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think some people do that. I don't know. I think some people maybe not paint, but they just stick things in their mouth. I don't know. Maybe he just likes to stick it in his mouth for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I like this though. This is actually kind of fun. Now I'm feeling a bit better about it. Are you having fun at least, or do you feel like this is something you would try again?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's nice. Um,
It's a little different.
yeah, it's a little bit different. To me, this is not what I would call painting, because I can't get anything at this level, at this level of resolution.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do this again per se, but I was curious when I saw that this was trending, and this seems to be like a big thing that people, like in the crafting world, it seems like a lot of people are like decorating cell phone cases. So I thought, I don't know, might be interesting to try.
Well, I think that's where my limitations with hand-eye coordination come in. I've never been really good at decorating. I could never like decorate a cake and have it look like anything. But that doesn't mean I'm not artistic, you
Oh
know.
no, you are artistic. I really like the Anastasia painting. Actually, I know you said it. I like it.
Oh, okay, thank you. It didn't quite, I wasn't in control of it. I think I used too much gloss medium. So it just got away from me. And so I wasn't, I wasn't able to have as much control over what it looked like. But I thought it turned out interesting in terms of the blending of the colors in her face so that it looked like the light and dark was right, you know?
No, it definitely did. And I kind of wondered, okay, I kind of thought it could be like Anastasia has a dream. Like she's in a dream-like state. Like it just looked like she was dreamy.
Right. Yes, it does look kind of like that. And of course, I called it In Search of Anastasia um, because nobody ever found her, and there were all these rumors that she survived, but she probably didn't, because DNA tests later on of all the women who pretended to be her showed that they were not related to the Romanovs.
But you know what's so strange is they never did find her body, but they found the bodies of the other sisters, right? In that grave. Like,
Yeah, that is strange.
like
Yeah,
to
so
me,
I don't know.
but am I getting all conspiracy theorists? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that those women were her, but it makes me wonder, did she maybe escape, but she lived a very low profile life because she didn't want to be found?
That could be. That could definitely be.
Because, like, think about it. Like, if she, I don't know, like the person that said she was her, that person's going to have a vested interest in wanting to be her. But if you were really Anastasia and you had been almost executed, you probably wouldn't want to be found. I don't know.
Well, yeah, all of the movies played on that issue, and they always came in favor of a private life versus a public life.
I mean, yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Like, I guess I can't really say much about it because I haven't really followed the topic. But yes, you're correct. Like, they disproved that all the people that claimed to be her through DNA were not her. So I guess it's just kind of a mute point. But it's just kind of interesting to think about sometimes. I guess things like that. So how much longer are you gonna keep painting? Do you feel like you're near the end, or?
I've already done.
Okay,
sorry. That's it.
All right. So,
I don't have any more, I don't have any more of these, and the more I add to it, it would just get very cluttered.
Okay, so should we end around here, do you think, and then we can maybe talk about this?
You should show us more of what you're doing because you're not displaying it.
Well, I'm having a hard time because I'm on. Okay, I'll just show you what it looks like. Right here and right here. So that's what I've done so far on these two. But I'll tell you what, since I'm kind of slow, I will post updates to, Facebook and you. And I'm gonna make a video about this actually because I started filming when I did the gesso this morning.
Okay, good. Yeah. And what I can do, I can show you what I do right now. I'll just get some newspaper. And I'll show you how I varnish these. Once I manage to put them down. So I'm going to put them down like this. And then there's this thing.
Oh yeah. You know what I could do is maybe just stop for a minute so I can watch what you're doing. I'm gonna go to the computer so I can like see what you're doing because I actually want to be able to watch you do
Okay.
it. So I will be finishing mine later. I'm kind of slow, everybody. Like it's just a process for me. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch what Aya's doing. Okay.
Okay, so I have to do this, and then I'm going to spray it here to see that it comes out. And then it comes out like this. Can you see it coming out?
I do see it coming out. I'm just trying to also get to the big screen so I can see it better because I feel like you're in such a tiny little screen on my iPhone. So get in there.
Okay, so now it's all glistening. So if
Ooh,
you
I like them. They look pretty cool, Aya.
Yeah, I mean, they're rudimentary. Anybody can do this. It looks like a child's drawing. I'll just admit it. Mine look like a child's drawing or what a child would do in kindergarten. But, it's a question of, the smaller the resolution, the harder it is for those of us with hand-eye coordination issues to get a really good drawing anywhere. So I'm pretty happy with this for right now.
It looks good. I mean, they look good to me. I think they're nice. I'm just gonna spend a bit more time on mine because I'm liking it a little bit more as I'm going, but I just feel like it will take me a bit because I'm making a palm tree and I'm kind of mixing it, but I'm having fun. I'm just not done.
Well, do you want to stop and just talk a little bit about creativity? Because I had some thoughts.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead. I would love to talk about that.
Okay, just bring this up so it's not about these things, but
me.
I really think that creativity is not something that can be taught. It's something that each of us finds within ourselves. But on the other hand, the skill sets that we bring can be expanded by being taught. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Like we all have an innate amount of creativity or we can tap into that, but we can improve our skill set over time. But some people are just going to be more naturally gifted in art and music.
Like, right. By the way, how far did you get in Daniel Deronda?
I'm still in part, unfortunately. I'm liking it, but I'm still in part 1. To the part where Grand Court, where she's accepted Grand Court and she's kind of meeting up again with Daniel Deronda, and then also he meets the Jewish lady that nearly committed suicide, it seems, and he's taken her to his friend's house. That's where I'm about right now. She's a very good, yes.
Okay, it's a good place. So I think you've already passed the part where Gwendolyn sings and Mr. Klezmer tells her that he enjoys watching her sing, which is a put down because he doesn't like hearing her sing.
For sure.
And then when her mother's inheritance collapses so that they're poor and she doesn't want to be a governess, right?
Yeah, no, she doesn't want to do that.
But she thought maybe she could earn a living by singing. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, she did. And wasn't she told that she would probably only reach mediocrity, I believe, by her instructor?
Yes. And so the moment she found out that she couldn't do that, she was not at all interested in learning how to sing. Do you remember that part?
I do remember that. Like she just gave up, and then it was kind of disappointing. I don't really like Gwendolyn very much. I'm gonna just be very honest with you because she's a very selfish person. It's like already all about her, but she doesn't want to marry Grand Court because it turns out he had a woman that he didn't marry with kids. But then she thinks she'll try her hand at gambling, and then she'll pawn a necklace, and Daniel Deronda saves her necklace, and it just seems like she's all over the place. And being a governess, like it might not be the best vocation for her, having been in higher society, but it was a way for her to at least have a comfortable life. And it just seemed like every single thing wasn't good enough. So now she's going to compromise and go back to Grand Court. Like,
Yeah, right. So here's what I wanted to focus on, though. Yeah, we can talk later about whether or not we think that she fills the requirements of being a narcissist. Um, but here's what I wanted to talk about is the art thing.
mhm.
So in 19th century society, in the time of George Eliot, it was pretty much understood some people are more talented than other people. Everybody can get better if they study, if they try to learn a skill set, but some people will never be, no matter how much they study and improve their skills, will never get very far because they started out with a small talent. And the talent was sort of, it was like you could gauge what it was, how much talent you had right from the outset. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not sure I completely agree with that view. I feel like they're just kind of setting people up for, well, unless you can earn fame and all this fortune that you shouldn't even try. I feel like he discouraged her pretty quickly, even though maybe she could have went somewhere else. Maybe she could have went to America and she could have been in a traveling, like there could have been an option for her to pursue the singing career somewhere else and still make a living doing it.
Yeah, I think that in the case of Gwendolyn, the reason that wasn't really an option is because she wasn't innately that interested in music, but then she wasn't innately that interested in anything, really. That's what I got.
That's kind of what I'm saying. She's all over the map. She's kind of boring. Like she's just, and she, by the way, she had like another suitor at the beginning, and weren't they kind, wasn't she saying, oh, he's dull because he's talking about croquet? Another gentleman that was seemed perfectly decent, and she kind of rejected him because he didn't seem as I just don't know what to make of her, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah. Also, I'm not sure, but wasn't that her cousin?
It could have been. I'll have, like I said, I was watching part of it on my phone. I just remember hearing
Yeah,
that.
that's another thing that then her uncle said to the cousin, it doesn't work with cousins and she needs to catch her fortune. But I thought it was interesting that today, at that time it was possible. It was nobody thought, oh, it's terrible if you marry your cousin. They didn't, not the way they do now.
Yeah, but people still do marry like distant cousins. It's not unknown. It's just in Western society, it's frowned upon.
I think it was a first cousin. I
Oh,
think it
first. Oh, see, I'm telling you, I need to rewatch it. So don't the details. I just was listening, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I almost put myself down on one of these. Uh, yeah, okay, that's not the main point, but in the United States, when I was growing up, and one of my friends, the one who eventually didn't read my novel and threw it away, but she was a music teacher, and she believed the opposite of what Mr. Klezmer told Gwendolyn. So if Gwendolyn had come to my friend for music lessons, my friend would have said, anybody can be taught music, and it depends on how hard you work.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I kind of agree with that a bit too, but I do think natural talent gives you an incentive, and hard work can boost you no matter what. You could have a lot of natural talent, be very talented at playing an instrument at a young age. And let's say after high school, you don't pursue, I don't know, continuing to study your music, to play your music, and then you just stop playing, I don't know, whatever instrument you played. And 20 years later, you may come back and discover it, and you may recapture that interest, but you will have to regain that knowledge that you once had. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think you need both.
Yeah,
to some
right.
degree.
I mean, she had a method that she learned from an opera singer who had actually been with a real opera company. And this method worked for that lady, and she taught it to other people. But later on, my friend also told me that her opera singing teacher and mentor actually told her that it wasn't worthwhile to be employed in an opera company because you are expected to learn music very fast. And if you do it her way, which is to learn everything, work very hard at learning it each time, each song, practicing a lot for each song.
Yeah,
When,
it, really
yeah,
learning.
when you get a new piece of music and it's in a language that you don't speak, and you have to get yourself a tutor who will teach you the music and get yourself another tutor who would teach you the language so you can sing that one song, well, eventually your pay will not pay for all of that. So it's not worth it. And this is years into the friendship that she told me this. And then I realized, okay, so this is where the limitation is on you can teach anyone anything. And hard work is all it takes, because it's not just about hard work, it's also about return on investment.
It's a mixture of both. I think you need a little bit of both, but with the hard work, if you have a little bit more of just innate talent, it's going to be easier to get much farther in music, singing, art, than if you're just working really hard and you have this small subset of skills that, yes, you can study all the time, but you're just not going to learn a song as quickly as others.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both, I will say.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think it really is. And I think there are too many people who overemphasize either the one or the other aspect of it.
But you can't separate both. Like this whole idea of what are your thoughts on compartmentalization of life? Like I've never really agreed. Do you take that approach to life, like, or talent or anything?
Well, I'm not sure what is I mean, I know what compartmentalization is in general, but how do you mean that in this particular instance?
I don't know. Like what I'm trying to say is, are these people saying that, oh, you might not be very talented, but if you study, like, oh, you can achieve, like, I don't know, greatness in that field, which might not be true. And you might be setting a young person up for disappointment because they can study very hard, but they're just not naturally talented the way that somebody else may be that studies maybe a little bit, but can go farther in a certain field. That's what I'm trying to ask, I guess.
Well, I think when you're trying to gauge talent, it's not fair to give people a head start by letting them practice and get so that they're very fluid. So, for instance, there's a difference between being able to be a performer, let's say a musician, a singer, an actor, any kind of performer who has to do something in real time. When you do have to do it in real time, you have to achieve fluency. And fluency is sometimes easily achieved if you practice. In other words, the more you practice, the more fluent you will appear to be. Some people do this with language even. There are people who aren't that good at language and they could never, come up with a poem on their own. But if they practice a poem a long time, they can recite it better than a person who wrote the poem,
That's a possibility. Yeah, definitely. And that definitely happens. And I was reading something, just like a foreign language book, that said you can use these tips and tricks to make native speakers think you're a little bit more fluent with certain pronunciations because you're getting over a hurdle that many second language learners have with a particular sound. I've read those tips in books. So yeah, there's tricks and tips you can use in anything that you're learning to be more fluid. But at the end of the day, I still think you need a little bit of talent to boost you higher. Like some people have more innate talent in whatever field it may be. And that's just reality. And I'm not saying that talent is the only thing alone, but I think it helps quite a bit.
Right. And when we're trying to assess people, it's better to give them tests that they can't study for so that they can't trick you by hard work to seem like they're, they have that talent. Uh,
Yeah, that would make more sense. Like you don't want them to know the answers to the test or to know exactly what's going to be on the test. You want to, yes, have a test that can that that makes sense to me.
right. So for somebody like, Daniel Carter is a beautiful composer, um, but he might have problems with fluency when asked to play a piece, and that might have nothing whatever to do with his music talent. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I see what you're saying for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Or somebody like me, I can write legal briefs, uh, and I can argue in favor of a legal position. But when I'm standing up before a court of appeals or whatever, I might have my fingers in my pockets, or I might stutter a little bit, or
Hmm.
not be very fluent in articulating my position. But that doesn't really mean that the person who is the best speaker in public is necessarily the one who has the most to say.
Of course. I mean, that's true with many classes because I would take classes where I read the actual reading and I could write the assignment, but in class, people would just be, they'd be debating with each other about any random thing. And I actually had a professor say, "Why don't you speak up in class?" But I didn't feel comfortable speaking up in that class because of all those people. They intimidated me because they were always acting like we know everything and we're going to argue with each other. So why would I want to speak up in a class like that?
Right, right. So again, even with something like art, like drawing, some people are more fluent, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily more talented. And some people are less fluent, doesn't mean they're less talented. We can, all of us, improve our skills by practicing, but our skills are not our talent, and our talent is not our skills.
Yeah, they go together. They help each other create the final product, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Did that make any sense at all?
I get what you're saying, yes. But hopefully we can get some comments. Like I don't see anybody commenting, but maybe people will.
Oh, okay. Can you tell whether people are commenting or not? I can't even see that
Yeah,
part.
I went to the computer and I have up the live chat, but I haven't seen any comments yet. So I would like people to comment on this topic.
Yeah. I think it's a very interesting topic because, there are people who teach creative writing, and I don't think you can teach the creative part of creative writing. But what you could teach are just the basics of writing of
Oh, of
certain
course.
forms. And you can get better at writing, a novel or a short story, or a sonnet or a
Definitely.
limerick, which have certain formal requirements to them. And you can learn to be more fluent in those forms, but that's not going to improve your creativity one iota.
No, probably not. Well, like you could look at it this way. There could be somebody that's really talented in designing or having an idea for a design for, I don't know, some sort of billboard, because this is a form of art. I mean, commercial art, yes. But maybe they don't have the skill subset where they would know how to lay that out on the computer. So they would have the idea and they could tell the graphic designer like where they want things. Like they could be the talent behind it, and the graphic designer has the skill subset to create the piece, so to speak.
Hmm.
Well, that's
Yeah,
just one thing that pops in my.
yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but then there are people who think, I have a great idea for a novel, and you know how to write novels. Will you write my novel for me? I don't think that really works.
Well, that's different with novels, but I'm just thinking like for business strategy, like there might be people like I'm thinking this way, like they have an idea, like a billboard, like how they think it should look. This is a little bit different, I think, than a novel, so to speak.
Right. Well, people can always commission other people to do stuff for them, and that's great. That's wonderful. And then the person who actually does the stuff, who is commissioned to do it, that is the artist or the maker, and the other person is the customer, and that's okay.
And I guess it just kind of it harkens back to what I was thinking about, where you said that particular artist, like she was very talented, but she didn't really like to paint those certain characters, but she painted them because she knew it would
Right.
sell. Like, did she
Yeah.
come up with the idea for those characters? That's kind of just the thought behind what I'm saying, but maybe I'm thinking of something different than what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she looked at an image of the character
Mm-hmm.
and she painted it, and she was an excellent painter, absolutely excellent. I have no criticism whatsoever of her painting.
That's what
Uh,
I'm saying. Very beautiful, but I
uh-huh.
feel like very, very, very pretty. But I feel like on the creative end, in that particular piece, did she created it, but the idea behind it, she didn't really create. Do you know what I'm trying to? I guess that's just what's.
I know what you're trying to say, but it's a little bit different with visual art, I think. Uh, Really, the idea was how Paul Darrow uh, looked when he was playing Avon. So basically, Paul Darrow had a beautiful, manly face,
Mhm.
and he was an actor. And of course, as an actor, he was creative too. Although he did not write his own lines, he added to the lines as they were given to him. He enlarged upon the character. So he also contributed something to the art of the people who wrote the script.
Mhm. Definitely.
He was an artist in his own right. Now, those of us who watched him, you know, of course, we knew it wasn't real and we understood it was written. And my favorite author, my favorite script writer on like Seven was Chris Boucher. That was his name, although he wasn't the one who invented the series. So what I loved watching was Paul Darrow playing the character of Avon as written by Chris Boucher. That was my favorite thing. And I was aware that these different people were contributing their part to the whole to make a wonderful thing.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, when that painter painted Paul Darrow in the part of Avon, I don't think that she had to think about all that. I don't think she had to think about the character or about the series or any of that. All she had to do was look at the face of Paul Darrow, dressed in a particular costume, you know, because he was dressed as Avon, and give the expression that he was making
Mhm.
and the way he looked. And she did that in a perfectly romantic way, you know, a very nice way.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a beautiful painting. I
Yes.
still feel like, though, in a way, like you can disagree with me, but I feel like
Okay.
okay, she's very talented. She can do that, but I still think it takes a little bit more creativity if you were to just say, this is something I want to paint and I create the scene myself and I place everything myself and I go and I try to sell a piece myself based on my own vision and something I
Okay.
paint.
Okay.
But
I understand now what you said. Okay. I didn't quite understand up to this point, but you're saying if she had been looking into her mind's eye and painting a person who never existed, but that she had invented, and the planes of his face were, you know, something that were her own invention. The entire scene was her own invention. That would have been more original. Okay, yes, of course.
yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. So I'm just, but that could be, that's just my thought when you mention this topic. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Sometimes we paint things we see, and sometimes we invent things we've never seen. And of course, it's more creative to invent something that you've never seen and that captures the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But on the other hand, it's not unusual for people to buy posters of their favorite characters and to ignore something that was original and painted by someone from their imagination. So
Mhm.
I really can't fault her for doing that.
Oh no, it's very smart actually. It's very commercially smart, very business smart. It's smart in so many ways, definitely.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People say that you're violating the copyright of uh, a franchise when you either paint or write about a character, and I don't think that's really true. I think what you are violating is their trademark.
Mhm. But people do. I mean, I think it's pretty common. There's a lot of I just the only reason I don't do it personally is because I was told on different art forums it was in poor form to do that, to pursue that as a way to make a career. But people do it all the time, unless you're commissioned by that particular company. That's
Oh,
just what
let me explain the copyright distinction that I just made.
Okay.
Obviously, if I just see a photograph of Paul Darrow in the part of Avon and
Mhm.
somebody else took the picture, then, and I just copy it, I paint it exactly the way it was, that is not an original and it is a copyright violation. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
But if I do not look at anything, if I don't look at anything at all, and in my mind's eye, I see Paul Darrow
Mhm.
uh, in the part of Avon, and I paint a scene from my mind, that is not a copyright violation.
Mhm. That
Uh,
makes
yeah, but the companies would pursue it as if it were. What it
Mhm.
actually is a trademark violation if I call that Avon, because
Okay.
they have trademarked the character of Avon.
Okay. I see what you're saying. There's a difference between copyright and trademark.
Right. And so, for instance, let's talk about the Arthurian legend, King
Mhm.
Arthur and his knights. Anybody can write about King Arthur and Queen Guinevere and Lancelot. Those things are out of copyright. And while maybe certain productions of that recently have been trademarked, the general ideas, you can't trademark those. And
Mhm.
you write something completely original about King Arthur, you're not in violation of copyright. You're not a plagiarist either.
Mhm.
Um, you have every right to do that. So
It's an
then we
adapt.
go, it's just something that is influenced by something else.
Okay.
So if I were now to write about Star Trek or Star Wars or any of those things, that's also not a violation of copyright as long as I don't use the same words in the same order.
Which is very common in it's common in fiction, literature, and movies. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So a lot of times people are told if you do this, it will be a copyright violation. It's not.
Mhm. Okay.
But they will hound you though for a trademark violation.
Okay. So it's the trademark issue where you could.
Yeah, it's because actually people don't people don't pay attention to the actual work, the words, or the painting, or the what they really care about is they come to fall in love with the characters, and
Mhm.
then they want to read more things about those characters. And if you write about those things, that takes away from the franchise. But it's a
Mhm.
complicated issue. It's a complicated issue because you should be allowed to write about it.
Well, definitely. But thank you for clarifying that, because I had always been curious about these things.
Right. Yeah. I think they're intentionally making them not so clear to the general public.
Mm-hmm. No, they're definitely not. Like, I'll be honest, I don't have a legal background, so it is a little bit confusing when people talk about this subject.
Yeah.
So,
As a writer, if you copy the words of another writer and don't give them credit, that's plagiarism.
yes, definitely.
If you copy the work of somebody who is in copyright word for word, that is also a copyright violation. But if it's not in copyright, then it's only plagiarism. And if you actually use your own word to tell your own story based on characters that somebody else invented, that's not a copyright violation. That is not plagiarism. All it is you are infringing on their franchise. And it might be a trademark violation.
Okay, so that's where it could be the trademark violation. Interesting.
Right. And they can't trademark everything. You can't trademark ideas. You can trademark, a mark, a certain appearance, but you can't trademark everything. So actually, they cannot prevent people from writing fan fiction.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But thank you for clarifying that subject. But anyway, did we kind of get away from what I think you wanted to discuss about that topic?
Yeah, about creativity. But you had a really good point. I appreciate your point about the fact that when we just from something that we see, it's less creative than creating a scene that we only see in our mind's eye. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just something that comes to me, but I don't think most people feel that way. Like, look, I love art that's based on a character sometimes. I love art that's based on a movie sometimes. But just within my being, like when I create art, I like to create something that I came up with myself, if that makes any sense. And I know that's probably not going to be as popular as if you were to go paint a character from a movie. Like, it's just not going to sell.
Hello. Yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that was an important addition, an important point that you made, and we could talk about that maybe at a later date about creating our own artwork without looking at anything. I think we could do that sometime.
And it's not that I don't think you could have a reference. I guess what I'm just trying to convey is, I don't know, like I feel like, okay, like I love like references from historical figures, things like that. But I guess what I'm trying to convey is like people that can create a story with their art that's not based on something that's already out there. Like I feel like that's going to be more difficult to sell than if you have this great business plan where you create something based on a movie. Which, you know, business wise, what she did was really smart. But if you just have this moral dilemma where I want to create something within myself, that's not going to always sell unless you create a book popular or something.
No, I agree. And some people do create their own comic books. I'm going to have to sign off now, though, because it's banana delivery time.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So have a nice day, okay?
Okay, you too, Julia. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.